The Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Jalen Brunson, 2 key threes at the end of the third quarter, so the Knicks are up 9 after 3 quarters of play. But Julian Champagnie from St. John's, a franchise record 11 threes, a career-high 36 points, most points in NBA history for any player not to attempt a 2. Unbelievable. And then Luke Cornett, the former Knick, with the Spurs up 1, up and a foul, and the Spurs in a great game. A tremendous way to close out 2025 in terms of excitement. 134-132. Unfortunately, the Knicks came out on the losing end. Great to have you with us. Happy New Year from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pidto along with Wally Szczerbiak. Man, what a game. Night after night here in December. These have been epic games. So Victor Wembanyama, Wally, 10:32 to go in the game, goes out with that knee injury, doesn't come back. And the Knicks at that point are up 6, and yet the Spurs end up winning the game.
Yeah, they built their lead up to 9 at one point in the fourth quarter. They closed the third quarter perfectly. Jalen Brunson, 2 huge threes to get that lead up to 9 going in the fourth. Just can't account for the way Champagnie was making shots. I mean, the Knicks needed to find him. There was a few where they didn't completely take his airspace away. I remember back in the day, he had to guard Peja Stojakovic and not give him any daylight, or he would make shots like Champagnie. But what a performance, what a game. I mean, this box score, I don't normally go to the box score. Knicks made 22 threes.
Tied a season high. The franchise record is 24, by the way.
22 for 52. How do you lose a game in regulation when you make 22 threes? I mean, that's because Champagnie, just an incredible, once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-generation type performance from the three-point line. He's a great shooter, yes, but not this great of a shooter. Just what a game overall.
And again, he didn't attempt a single 2. 11 of 17 from 3. That's
crazy.
What he took from the...
That's crazy. That's the new NBA.
That's what he... And you know what also is the NBA? The Knicks were up by 19 in the first half, couldn't hold the lead. This is the first time all year, as Mike Breen mentioned, that the Knicks lost a game when leading after 3 quarters of play. That's how good they have been.
Announcer jinx.
No, he said it after the fact.
No, they brought that up. Right. They brought that up during the game, whatever their record was.
But it was a great fourth quarter.
There's the Wemby injury. He hyperextended his knee, hoping that he's going to be okay. He was out on the bench, which is a very good sign for the San Antonio Spurs. But his team, when he went out, they were galvanized. There's OG Anunoby driving to the basket. Struggled a little bit from 3. He was 0 for 5 from 3, OG was, but got a couple dunks to go. That guy, Champagnie, just... I mean, any type of daylight, nothing but net. I mean, it was mostly from that left wing corner. Like Alan mentioned during the broadcast, Knicks just could not locate him. And then when he got them back in the game when they were down 9, he got the game even. That's when De'Aaron Fox started making plays. He knows how to close games. Deuce McBride, welcome back. Welcome back to the lineup. Another 5 threes for Deuce was outstanding. And how about Luke Cornett camping out down low, the big N1. They're the Frenchman embracing. What a win for the Spurs. They wanted this one. They wanted to pay back the Knicks after they lost to them in the NBA Cup final, and they did it in a heartbreaking loss for the Knicks.
All right, you mentioned the Knicks made 22 threes to the Spurs 14, and yet the Knicks still lost. They gave up 41 fourth-quarter points. No Josh Hart, no Mitchell Robinson. That hurt on the rebounding situation as the Spurs outboarded the Knicks 48-40. So Champagnie is close to champagne. Kind of appropriate on New Year's Eve, right?
Sure is.
I mean, it's really.
We look like we should be carrying champagne around this studio right now.
We should be covering. We should be carrying champagne for Champagnie. Let's take a look at his amazing night. Again, 11 made threes. He is the thrilling moment brought to you by FanDuel Casino. Get your thrill on. He'll never forget this night. That is for sure.
No, he can shoot, and he just got into some rhythm. And when you get into the rhythm, it's called being in the zone. Look at that rotation. Look at that optimum arc. All over the place, just straight on, nothing but net. Just got, and his teammates started to really find him too. And you know, you need to almost, as a Knicks team, just say, I'm playing a box and one on him singly.
Well, the Knicks did go to zone at times.
Yeah, that's true. And in zone, you see, that's a wide open look. That's a miscommunication where, you know, Clarkson's trying to figure out, should I guard him or should I guard the corner? I think maybe you should guard the guy that had 10 threes at that point. And then here's transition, running to the 3. Can't get to that. That's just a scramble mode situation where it's tough to identify him so early in a possession. But what a performance. I mean, no 2-point field goals, and he gets to 36 points. Threw in a couple free throws at least, so it wasn't all threes. 3 free throws.
So Champagnie had 12 in the fourth quarter. De'Aaron Fox had 14 in the fourth quarter. That's 26 of the Spurs' 41 fourth quarter points. Now, with no Hart and no Mitchell Robinson, again, the rebounding differential went against the Knicks, and they just struggled on defense, as Mike and Alan were talking about throughout that fourth quarter.
Yeah, they're piecing together lineups, trying to figure out if they want to go with a defensive-minded lineup or they want to stay with the scoring and the shooting. The scoring and the shooting definitely helps you win basketball games. You put up 132, you shouldn't give up 134. It was one of those heroic efforts. The Knicks have been kind of playing with fire the last couple games. I know there are some things that they need to tighten up on the defensive end of the floor. They need to get in that film room and kind of just figure out some things to kind of hold teams, make them uncomfortable defensively, because right now teams are scoring too many points. They're getting into a rhythm too easily, too often. And right now the Knicks' skill level is willing them to wins, but they want to get back to dominating the controllable categories, which is the rebounding and the defense.
Jalen Brunson came into this game averaging 29.4 points per game, almost got there with 26, took 23 shots, 4 of 11 from downtown, including that miracle at the end that made it a 2-point loss.
I don't know how that went in, but, you know, the Knicks played till the final buzzer. You got to give them a lot of credit for that. A loss is a loss, but Jalen Brunson, you know, he looked a little perturbed out there a little bit during this game. There was a little bit of chippiness, a lot of physicality this team was playing against Jalen, but he just loves this type of game, this competitiveness. You lose it. He had 26 points, didn't shoot, you know, remarkably well. He had to deal with Wembanyama a lot of times when he went in there, you know, to kind of get his buckets around the paint, and he was seeing shadows of Wembanyama and ghosts of Wembanyama when he went in there. Everyone does because of his length. You think about going up around the basket, shots that you normally make and take. But those 2 shots that he made right there to end the third quarter, I thought were huge to give the Knicks a little bit of breathing room. That was the second one off the step back. He knocked down that deep 3. And that sends a message to the Spurs that, hey, you're going down 9 in your fourth quarter. It's going to be tough to come back. Jalen kept trying to will them in the game, hit a couple late threes at the end. That's going to help his clutch statistics in the final 5 minutes. Mr. Clutch showing that he had the clutch gene all the way down to the final buzzer. Cuts that lead from 5 to 2. Heartbreaking loss for the Knicks.
Knicks bench was excellent. You had Jordan Clarkson with 20. You mentioned Deuce McBride with 24.
5 for 10 from 3.
Right. And he had an excellent game against New Orleans, so he looks good after missing
back.
8 games with the ankle. 2 great games for him. Victor Wembanyama, we mentioned he went out. You mentioned he came back to the bench. Hopefully that's a good sign that the knee is not significantly injured. 31 points. Barely played the fourth quarter. He's amazing, isn't he?
He's tough to stop. I mean, he can score however he wants, and I love the way the Spurs utilize him in the pick and roll, because he rolls to the basket most of the time because he occupies so many defenders, and you can just lob it up to him, not at the rim. You can just lob it up to him anywhere around, and he's going to go up and catch it and finish
10
over
of
a smaller
12,
defender.
He can't be much more efficient than that.
I mean, that is so efficient. His rebounding's really good. Most impressive to me is his shot blocking, the way he intimidates guys when you go in there around the paint. And he's going up against another all-star in Karl Anthony Towns. So, you know, this guy has really made a lot of development. You know, you just hope he can avoid those injuries at that 7'4" height. You know, obviously very lean, very thin. He's been susceptible to injuries. You know, his body, I don't know how durable it is right now at a young age, but hopefully he can avoid major injuries moving forward, because he is an absolute treat to watch. He is a player unlike any other. I mean, the skill level that he has, at the size that he has, the way he handles the ball, the way he shoots the ball, it is quite a specimen to watch out there on the floor.
All right, well, let's bring in Monica McNutt in San Antonio. She was on the radio call on ESPN New York. Monica, we also got to mention De'Aaron Fox. 26 points in the game, and he had 14 of those in the fourth quarter, most of which came after Wembanyama went out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, that is also a Clutch Player of the Year award winner, I should say, not candidate. So no surprise that he was able to step it up and the way in which he stepped it up. But, I mean, Pidto, Wally, I was thoroughly impressed with Julian Champagnie. 11 threes tonight. That guy was on an absolute heater and a star in his role for the Spurs.
Yeah,
What's that like, Wally?
I don't know. My career high was 6'3", so you can't even talk to me, all right?
Monica, I'd ask you, but I know better. No better not to ask
Whatever,
Monica.
Pidto.
Oh, it's a great feeling. And honestly, like, he got what really happened is he got lost in not looking at how many threes he made.
Yeah.
He just wanted to help his team win the game. That's the bottom line. He just got to the point where it was like, hey, we're down 9. We lost Victor Wembanyama. Someone's got to step up and make plays. We're on a 2-game losing streak. We don't want to lose another game here at home. And he just lost himself in the competitive spirit of a sport, basketball. And that's what great players do. They get caught in the zone, and he single-handedly brought the team back. And once he got the game tied, that's when his teammates were like, hey, we have life again. And now that's how they pulled off the victory.
Monica, no Mitchell Robinson. Go ahead.
No, real quick, though, I think, Wally, Tyler and I were just discussing it. He hit a 3 to give them a lead, and then they ultimately never looked back. But that's a young man who came into tonight having taken 250 shots, 188 of them, 75% of them are threes. So he knows exactly what he wants to do and how he can help his team when he's on the floor. What's up, Pidto?
Mitchell Robinson, the Knicks say, will play either Friday against Atlanta or Saturday against Philadelphia, but didn't play tonight. Josh Hart out as well. How did that impact the Knicks on defense? Because 41 points allowed in the fourth quarter is obviously something Mike Brown's not going to be thrilled about.
Yeah, well, the first thing you think of is they did lose the rebounding battle tonight by 8. And then I think second chance points, if I remember from upstairs, 23-7. And here's the thing about second chance points, because I don't think that it was a pressing issue through about 2.5 quarters. Midway through the third, it became a little bit of an issue because the Knicks were shooting the ball so well. They were shooting 60% from the floor, mid-50s from the 3 at one point. There weren't a ton of offensive rebounds to be had. There was a great flow to the game. But when things started to slow down, the thing I think that is unique about the Knicks' ability to garner second chance points off of offensive rebounds is that's when you have a chance to score against a defense that is also scrambling. And so as we got into the second half of the third quarter, particularly into the fourth, the Spurs, that defense, those tenacious guards that want to get up in you and bother you, were often ready and waiting when the Knicks came down to set up their offense. So I think that's where you miss those two guys. Yes, their defense, they would have been an extra body to throw at Wemby or Keldon Johnson or Luke Cornett. But when you really dig into the rebounding and sort of the byproduct of the byproduct of them missing on the offensive end.
All right, Monica, hey, Happy New Year. Have a safe trip home. We'll see you in 2026.
Happy New Year.
We're leaving this lost in 2025. It's out of here.
It's gone. All right. Mike Brown's post-game comments around the corner. Jalen Brunson laughing about his 3 that he made at the buzzer that made it a 2-point loss for the Knicks. 150 around the corner as well. Stay with us.
The Knicks post-game show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
A wild one tonight in San Antonio, won by the Spurs, 134-132. Mike Brown's post-game comments presented by Chase.
Worked us in a lot of different ways. Mitch kicked my ass. The rest of the team kicked our ass. We all got our ass kicked today. So you give San Antonio a ton of credit. I met Julian Champagny. I mean, he was fantastic. He shot the mess out the ball, and he made the shots. It was a little disappointing in our guys because it was almost like at times we didn't respect him. We didn't pick him up in transition, and he gets a wide, we drop back in transition 5 feet inside the three-point line and let him shoot a wide open uncontested 3. We take our body off him. We know he's a hot player, and that's what he does. But he just kept getting look after look after look after look after look after look that were wide open. And like I said, you give him a lot of credit because he knocked the shots down. But I was really, really disappointed in the way that we defended him. And he was a guy that we talked about that was a hot player, and we didn't do our job there. I had 40 free throw attempts. I know we fouled late in the game to try to change the game, but we were down almost. They almost doubled us in free throw attempts the whole game, and I don't know. Maybe we weren't aggressive enough. I'm not sure, but it'd be interesting to go back to look at the film to see why we couldn't get to the free throw line, but why they were getting to the free throw line, because that's a huge disadvantage. If you're talking about 20 to 40 from the free throw line, and again, you got to take in consideration that some of those fouls at the end of the game, we were fouling to to get an opportunity to stop the clock and try to go score. But it's going to be tough if the free throw disparity is that big. I will say this as well. I thought some of our fouls, especially early on, could have been avoided. We talked to our guys about leading with their chest and not with their hands. And, we pick up some silly fouls early just because we want to reach. And next thing you know, they're in the bonus. They're shooting free throws, and you're looking up, and they got 20 free throws to our 5 or our 10 or whatever it is, and we're complaining to the refs. Well, some of those later calls may not be fouls, but for sure we're giving the officials an opportunity to call fouls with our reaching. So we got to do a better job of not reaching. But 40 free throws to a team like this on the road, that's the second thing that's tough to overcome. And then they had 11 offensive rebounds. But man, I don't know how you can convert 11 offensive rebounds into 23 second chance points. So our multiple effort was not good. We stood there or they got the rebound, and then we didn't fly around after that. And our inability to fly around, and it's hard when you give up an offensive rebound, but our inability to fly around and get the bodies and all that stuff, again, gave them an advantage on the second chance points, with them getting 23 to our 7. And things that we talked about before the game, it's right there. We got to respect Champagne because he's a hot player. You got to keep them off the glass, and then we as a team got to figure out how we can be physical and defend, but defend without fouling. So give them a lot of credit because they went and got the win. San Antonio did. Sorry.
It seems, I think early on you guys shot like 60% from 3, and just couldn't shake them because, again, defense seemed to start slow. Just what are you seeing again with inability, I guess, 137 points here?
Yeah, the team scores 134 points. First of all, it's our physicality. We haven't figured out how to be physical for 48 minutes in the last, I don't know how many games, but doing it without fouling. And we pick up some silly fouls that we have to do a better job of. And I feel everybody understands that, but now we just have to go do it. So our physicality is not good. And we just haven't been able to, I don't know if we're tired or what, but we have not been able to sustain anything defensively for 48 minutes. And we've won a lot of games, and you want to win games, and you feel good about it. But at the end of the day, if we don't figure how to sustain what we're supposed to do on the defense end of the floor for 48 minutes, it's going to be a long year for us, and it's going to eventually catch up with us. So our physicality, our inability to sustain what we're supposed to do on that end of the floor. And then for a while, it was our transition defense. Our transition defense wasn't bad tonight, but those areas are really big for us. And, we haven't put together 48 minutes of really high-level basketball when it comes to those things.
The bar is open. Welcome back to the Quarter 3 presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer.
You're supposed to sit like this.
Yeah, well, I can't touch the floor, so I don't have to worry about it.
No, you can't. That's a problem.
Mike Brown obviously wants to see better D from his team. What do they have to do to get better on that end of the floor?
Listen, he's been letting some stuff slide, but if they want to get to the level they want to get to, win a championship, they have to become more connected on the defensive end of the floor. He's going with more offensive lineups to try to outscore teams. Without, obviously, Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson, that's a problem on defense. You got to get some guys healthy and got to kind of get the guys' attention in the locker room again, how important it is to give maximum effort on that end of the floor. Spurs are legit. They've beaten OKC 3 times. Yeah. They battled the Knicks for the NBA Cup in the championship game, and they're able to prevail without Wembanyama in the fourth quarter tonight. Good team, no question. They had guys step up. They went all in with De'Aaron Fox and Wemby. All right, back with more after this.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
All right, next up, 2026 begins for the Knicks on Friday, a home game against Atlanta, and then a home game Saturday against the Sixers, and then a showdown Monday at Detroit. The games, as always, in the NBA keep coming. Of course, the Knicks, Wally, beat the Hawks in Atlanta last Saturday. And in this run here, they're now 13-4 in their last 17. One of the losses came to Philly here.
Yeah, Philly's playing good basketball. They had a heroic win last night against Memphis in overtime. It was an outstanding basketball game. Edgecombe hit another game-winning three to lock that one up. But January's the tough month. You want to just get to that All-Star break. You just got to find a way to keep banking the wins.
All right, we will wrap up our final postgame in 2025 when we continue after this. Knicks go down tonight at the Spurs, 134-132. We wrap up the Knicks postgame show. Next up, the Knicks will host Atlanta Friday night. We got our pregame at 7, game at 7:30. You can also stream our coverage on the Gotham Sports App. Want more than just a postgame show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports App. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.